In the last video, I covered the gunner's best elimination weapon builds involving the minigun and the bulldog. In this video, I'm going to cover elimination builds with the Thunderhead, the Bert 7, and the Hurricane. There are two Thunderhead builds that are excellent for elimination missions. For the first one, you will use the Big Bertha overclock, and you will need extra damage, lighter barrel assembly, supercharged feed mechanism, armor breaker, and extra damage again. Since you have a high damage output already, you don't need to take the extra magazine capacity. Also, the extra ammo is just unnecessary. In Tier 2, improved accuracy is redundant since this overclock already improves accuracy. As for the other two options, lighter barrel assembly is better than improved gas system for two reasons. One, since you are working with a smaller magazine capacity, you won't be able to frequently reap the benefit of a higher top rate of fire. And two, you'll be able to utilize the perks in Tier 5 more quickly, since they only kick in once you reach your max rate of fire. In Tier 3, you will be taking improved top rate of fire since it improves the damage output by a lot more than the extra damage of high velocity rounds. And here's why. When you combine the improved top rate of fire of supercharged feed mechanism with the Tier 2 mod lighter barrel assembly, it will take roughly 2 seconds to reach your top rate of fire. It increases your damage output by 50% after 2 seconds of continuous firing, as opposed to the damage increase of high-velocity rounds, which gives you a continual, roughly 15% improvement in damage output. So that's 50% versus 15%. In Tier 4, Armor Breaker is a no-brainer since it's very useful for fighting the Dreadnought twins, and you aren't relying on splash damage. In Tier 5, we have Damage Resistance or Extra Damage. Both of these are good picks for elimination, but personally I prefer the extra damage, so that's what I'm putting down. Also, Dreadnoughts are immune to fear, so taking suppressive fire is a waste. The next Thunderhead build will be utilizing the Combat Mobility Overclock. Like Big Bertha, this overclock increases your damage output, not with direct extra damage, but by significantly improving your rate of fire. For the rest of the weapon build, you will need high capacity magazine, improved gas system, improved rate of fire, armor breaker, and extra damage. In Tier 1, since you are relying on a high rate of fire for your damage, high capacity mags is the best choice. In Tier 2, improved accuracy and lighter barrel assembly are already improved by the overclock, so picking them again would be redundant. This makes improved gas system the best pick for this build. The rest of the mods are the same as the last build, so I won't be going over them again. Also, I would highly recommend taking the Born Ready perk whenever you are utilizing the Thunderhead. For the best Bert 7 elimination build, you will utilize the Lead Spray overclock, and you will also need extra damage, disabled safety, extra damage again, hollow point bullets, and longer burst. Since the overclock increases your base spread so significantly, you have to be very close to your target to utilize this weapon setup. Because this disadvantage is so strong, taking extra accuracy or reduced recoil will not do you any good. Also, since you are not taking extra ammo, you'll want to save this weapon for high health enemies and specifically for attacking the main weak points of the Dreadnought. Also, Dreadnoughts are immune to stun, so taking the burst stun in Tier 5 is a waste. For the best Hurricane elimination build, you will need the Jet Fuel Homebrew overclock. And for the weapon mods, you will need extra damage, armor breaker, improved rate of fire, hollow point bullets, and stun. Like other elimination builds, the weapon mods are focused on high damage output, and since this is designed against Dreadnoughts, you shouldn't invest in area damage for this build. None of the options in Tier 5 are going to be really useful for fighting Dreadnoughts. The reason why I pick stun is to make it easier for me to deal with other high health enemies, but if you want to pick the other options in Tier 5, it won't compromise this build. Since this Hurricane setup has reduced ammo capacity and high weak point damage, I would recommend taking the aforementioned Bert 7 setup, with the addendum of swapping out hollow point bullets for extra ammo. If you prefer better range and accuracy for the Bert 7, you can swap out the Lead Spray overclock for the experimental rounds overclock, and it won't make too much of a difference in your damage output. If you have any questions about these builds, please leave them in the comments and I will answer them as best I can.